You're watching the Florida Caniac Perspective.
Hello and welcome to the Florida Caniac Perspective. I am the Florida Caniac, and I guess you noticed the empty wall here. Well, as you can see, new production is coming into room 21 here, but it's not going to be the same filming here, so let's mix things up, shall we? Come on. Much better. So as we're waiting on room 21 to complete, hopefully by the end of this month, we are here at SeaWorld Orlando, Florida. And in today's episode, we're simply going to answer your questions from hashtag #AskTheFloridaCaniac. But first, let's take a look at those standings. So as you can see here in the standings, Carolina is 11 points behind the commanding Washington Capitals, commanding so far this season. A lot of the season ahead for Carolina to make that run for the division here, even though Pittsburgh is tied for points in the wild card #1 spot as of right now. But again, like I said, plenty of hockey to go around here for sure, as Carolina is in a much better position than they were last season around this time. So let's get to our first question with hashtag #AskFloridaCaniac, coming from Jeff Dwyer himself, the Kilted Caniac. Can't wait to see you guys up there come January. He's actually simply asking about this upcoming Western road trip that we're currently in and seeing how we're going to favor in it. With a victory of 6-3 against the Edmonton Oilers and an overtime loss against the Vancouver Canucks, which was a huge goaltender showdown, I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be a successful road trip as long as they stay healthy, stay well rested, and maintain a good amount of practice, just not overdo it here and there. Plus, they got a huge game coming up, as you can see on the screen here, against the Colorado Avalanche in Denver, Jacob Slavin's home area. As long as they keep things going, I have no doubt in my mind they could win 3 to 4 games in this road trip, which to me will be very successful. Now let's go check out another ride as we check out the rest of this park. Better than the ones in Miami. Oh good, a place to cool off. Let's go answer some more questions in here. Well, not quite exactly the coolest place on earth, but made up Antarctica will work, especially for SeaWorld, right? Anyway, Bob Kahn with a question here, asking who's going to be best represented at the All-Star game. Sebastian Aho is definitely the obvious choice here with the NHL popularity that gained from not only the previous All-Star voting last time, but his production during the playoffs and the regular season last year. Dougie Hamilton gets my #1 overall vote here, leading the defenseman in goals and one of the top 5 goal scorers in the Carolina Hurricanes roster right now. But you cannot ignore Andrei Svechnikov here, leading the team in goals, having a remarkable sophomore season, and is really on his way to superstardom all the way through. Anyway, let's go see what Penguins really look like. Well, not quite the Pittsburgh Penguins, but you get the point here. Anyway, question from Bob Kahn here regarding Tim Peel and his actions towards the Carolina Hurricanes and somewhat biased mentality here. I'm not going to really touch a whole lot of that, but I will say this, there needs to be better officiating all the way through. The eyes in the sky needs to really happen in the stadiums for sure, and I really think some more better fair play will really happen in the NHL, especially when referees really need to learn to intertwine with each other and interact when it comes to calls being made on the ice. Regarding Tim Peel and the Carolina Hurricanes, yeah, I can see a lot of things happening there for sure, but it's really hard to really say that, if you know what I mean. But actions do need to be taken into perspective here, and something needs to be done for sure. Meanwhile, let's get off the referee bandwagon here and let's get away from Sidney Crosby and the gang right here. Let's go check out my time at the New York area when I got to see the Rangers take on the Canes. Check this out. So here I am at the Shark Tank, and I'm not too worried about it because if Carolina can handle Joe Thornton and the Sharks, why can't I handle a tank of sharks, right? Although I don't see many sharks. Anyway, so the answer to John Orr's question regarding Peter Mrazek, was he at fault starting that whole thing? He was actually. He did throw the slash at Joe Thornton, and Joe Thornton kind of retaliated with that punch to the throat. Now, in this case, I felt Joe Thornton should have gotten more than a 2-minute penalty here, and Mrazek, rightfully so, also got himself a 2-minute penalty. Overall, Carolina did end up winning that game anyway, but yes, Peter Mrazek was certainly at fault. And it doesn't help where the next day of practice, they kind of drew out an outline of Peter Mrazek on the ice. Let's go check out the rest of this place. Well, we finally made it here to Sesame Street, home of Elmo, Cookie Monster, Big Bird, and whoever knows what weird pedophilia happens around here. Anyway, we're here to answer a question from Casey Caniac. He's actually asking about the Vancouver Canuck game situation where the rookie referee actually miscalled a possession resulting in a Carolina power play instead of a Sebastian Aho goal. Now, in this case, should have the veteran referee stepped in and overturned that call? In a way, I would say yes and no at the same time. Let's start with a no. You can't just sit there and overturn a call by a referee. It's just not that way. Referees are treated equally in this matter. However, the yes side of this means the referee should have had a conversation together on this one, maybe go to their own official review and review the so-called possession and play, and then actually see if it was a goal scored or not without an actual possession by the Vancouver Canuck player. In this case, it was wrongfully called, and I do agree with Casey Caniac on this one, where they should have reviewed it and they should have consulted each other to get the call right. Now let's go check the rest of Sesame Street out and check out the rest of this place. You know, if you play more hockey, you actually can eat more cookies. Yeah, I'm just saying. Just a thought, just a thought. Just saying. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Florida Caniac Perspective. Don't forget, I'm going to be in the Raleigh area January 9th through 12th, where I will be there for the January 10th game against the Arizona Coyotes, and January 11th, the Hartford Whalers. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode here at SeaWorld. This is the Florida Caniac signing off for this week's episode of the Florida Caniac Perspective. And as always, go Canes! So I'm curious, if you could play one-on-one hockey versus you and Cookie Monster, who would win? Oh, yes. Oh, see? It's a lot. Okay. But I think you'd be faster. He eats too many cookies. Just exactly. Exactly. I love living in the Sunshine State, but man, sometimes it just gets too hot to wear a hockey sweater year-round service. Dude, you're gonna love this shirt I got from Bench Clears. What's Bench Clears? Bench Clears created a shirt much like the hockey sweaters we wear today, but without sleeves and easy for you to enjoy outdoor activities. But I could just roll my sleeves up, right? Dude, that's definitely not making a fashion statement at all. But this is a fashion statement. You could do great activities like these. You can't do yard work in your hockey sweater. But with Bench Clears, you can represent your NHL team in flying colors. Grilling is a mess when you have those sleeves on for the big hockey game, but here in the Sunshine State, it's a must-have for your outdoor activities, especially with those meats. You can even hold your baby. 100% polyester material makes it completely machine wash safe, and these colors won't fade at all. You'll truly love your outdoors again with this officially licensed product by the NHL. Get yours today.